Nihao, today we're going to peek into a wild Great Wall hike and enjoy a delicious countryside feast. Join us for the full guide to this 14-kilometer hike. To begin, you're going to need to drive out to Beijing. If you've got a car, it'll be easier, otherwise you'll need to organize a private driver. You'll arrive in Chenjiabu village, where you can start the hike at the local shop. Head down the road passing the small village buildings and the construction of new apartment buildings. You'll come through the barrier here, go up the road a little bit more, looking out for the path on the left. Whoops, I nearly missed it. Up here is where we need to go. We did the hike in the first week of November, and as you'll hear in the background, it was pretty windy. Had we have come a month earlier, I think we may have seen the changing of the leaves. The hike starts with a fairly sharp walk up through the hills. As you continue going, you're going to have to fight your way through some branches and brambles. But it's well worth it, because when you get to the top of the hill, you get to appreciate the wild Great Wall. As you follow the trail, you'll see these little tags and ribbons attached to trees. These are from other local hiking groups to show their groups where to go. We're at a top, but perhaps not the top. And from here you can start to see the Great Wall. You can see some of the sections from Badeling. But unlike Badeling, this area hasn't been fully restored and there isn't a ticket. That does mean you need to take some safety precautions, making sure you have the right equipment, enough food and water to enjoy the hike safely. The terrain is rough and it's easy to fall over and hurt yourself, so make sure you are prepared. This is not a route for those who are inexperienced. If you'd like to try it, I recommend finding a local hiking group in Beijing and going with them. As we continued along the ridgeline, we started to pick up the Great Wall a little bit more. With every step, we could see it snaking through the landscape. And thanks to the winds, we had beautiful views of the mountains for miles. Look at the ground here. This is what I mean about it being a little bit uneven and easy to slip over or twist an ankle. The Great Wall is absolutely stunning, but it's also a challenging place to go for a hike. Even on the restored sections, it's still pretty difficult due to the size of some of the steps and the angles of the slopes up and down. As we hiked, we just couldn't help but stop ourselves from stopping to admire the Great Wall and the landscapes in front of us. With each turn, new landscapes and scenery opened up. The views of the village down below disappeared and the views of new villages became. Eventually, we got ourselves to our first watchtower. In through the main door, And then this was the perfect place to take a break from the wind and admire the mountains again. Whilst the terrain here is challenging, the route once on the wall was fairly simple. You just had to follow it along. Would you go up and over or down and under? I chose the top option and nearly got blown down, so be careful. Here we are in our second watchtower. It's great fun to have a little explore, but remember to stay safe, don't climb up, and don't do something silly like carve your name into it. It is an amazing experience being able to hike here. But as you get to the top of every little peak, you see where the Great Wall ends up, and it can become a little bit intimidating. At times, it feels like it's never going to end. As we continued along, our time on the unrestored parts of the Great Wall was over. After this point, the wall was a bit more restored and easier to walk along. Later though, we'll get back onto some of the wilder sections. Check out the steps here. They're about a foot tall each, making them like small individual walls. Take a deep breath in, put your hands on your knees and just push yourself up. After the watchtower here, we're going to start to go down the mountain. The restored part of the wall comes to an end here. As the path goes down the mountain, you'll come to the watchtower here, go in, have a little explore before returning outside and passing down on the left-hand side. At the bottom, you'll see the road that will take you back into the village. I must say, by this point we were glad to finally spot it. Not only were we tired, but we were definitely ready for lunch. The bit towards the end I think was probably the most slippy, or maybe we were just tired and a little bit careless. Eventually, however, we made it back onto the road. The road starts a little bit gravelly like this before opening out and eventually becoming tarmacked. At the blue and white hut down there, we turned right and started to walk back into the village. As you pass through villages like these, you'll be sure to find sofas. While those ones were unoccupied, later on we found some with villagers chatting and milling around. We passed this little temple before finding some pigs scurrying around in the muck. After passing these buildings that are under construction, we got back to where we begun and we walked a little bit further down the road to go for some lunch. I'm not sure if this place has a name, but it's definitely worth peeking in if you stumble across it. It's a combination of family home, restaurant and small local shop. The family who ran it were absolutely fantastic, as was their food. I thoroughly recommend the aubergine kung pao chicken, twice cooked pork, shredded potatoes, fried flatbread, and get yourself a soup to warm up to. Have a guess how much all of this food cost. 3, 2, 1, 124 RMB. That's about £13. After our late lunch, we picked up some local apples and double yolk eggs from their shop. It really was like stepping back in time. If you need the bathroom, it's in the back garden. You can wash your hands back in the main building. It was starting to get late, so it was time for us to jump back in the car and get back to the center of Beijing. Whilst leaving, we spotted these sheep waiting for the bus. I reckon their ticket is 8块钱. Subscribe now to see where we peek into next time.